Time directing your attention, there's a natural phenomenon known as the Pareto Principle that might help you solve that problem. No, this won't cure your ADHD, but it can help you better understand the world around you and in turn make better decisions. Pareto Principle is a simple but important rule that says 80% of the consequences generally come from 20% of the causes, or more often described as the vital few versus the trivial many. Originally identified by 19th century economist Vilfredo Pareto, who observed in Italy 80% of the land was owned by 20% of the population, it was further developed by Joseph Duran, a business consultant who wanted to improve quality control in the 1940s. Most important about Pareto's findings was that this 80-20 distribution occurred very frequently and across every domain. For example, in this chart mapping out the causes of late arrivals, traffic and childcare account for 80% of late arrivals while only amounting up to 20% of the overall causes. But don't get hung up on the numbers. The Pareto Principle is all about narrowing your focus down to cause and effect in an effort to better prioritize your focus and resources. In economics, the Pareto Principle says that 20% of workers contribute to 80% of the work. Sound like someone you know? This means that out of 10 employees, only 3 of them contribute to half the work. And at scale, out of 10,000 employees, only 100 of them contribute to half the work. It generally goes that 20% of your time accounts for 80% of the results. Use this principle to better understand the world around you and identify the most frequent and important categories. I'll see you tomorrow.
Have you heard of the 80-20 rule or the Pareto Principle? What it means is the top 20% of the world owns 80% of the assets, whereas the bottom 80% only get to share the remaining 20%. Beyond their formal education, they focus on acquiring new abilities to increase their income, enhance their savings, grow their wealth, and to preserve their assets so that they can stay there and get there. They've chosen to develop positive habits and successful thought processes in making good decisions time after time. That's why they are in the top 20%. How do you get there? What kind of education must you have to get there? I chose to be in the top 20%. How about you? Check out my socials to find out more.
What's a tip or trick you've learned that's changed your life?
That would be the Pareto Principle, of course, also known as the 80-20 rule. The Pareto Principle states that 80% of the outcome or results come from 20% of the time spent or the input. We see this often in real life in things such as 80% of revenue is generated by 20% of the customers, 80% of manufacturing error comes from 20% of the defects, and so on. So what does the Pareto Principle mean for you? Now, 80-20 isn't a hard and fast rule, but it means that when you're working on a new project or starting a new habit, try to find the 20% of things that lead to 80% of the results and focus your time on those things. So as an example, let's say you're starting a new blogger business. There's a lot of different promotion channels that you can use. Instead of trying to be on every single channel, focus on the 1 to 2 where you think that your customers or potential audience might be, and put a lot of time and effort, mostly into that to get started. I could give you a few more examples, but that wouldn't be very 80-20.